Hi everyone, welcome to Tip Tuesdays with Coach Kayla. And today we're going to just give you guys a recap of my marathon. So I know a lot of you follow my journey and have been interested as well in what I personally do. Not only, what I recommend, but what I personally do for marathon training. And if you did not see, recently PR'd my last marathon. Did not quite make Boston yet, which wasn't the goal for this marathon, but I'm still very happy with really doing so well and really at least getting a PR from my last marathon, because that's truly always, I think, something that I really want to keep continuing to do, is just to keep improving and keep trying to be my best. So I hope you are too, and I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday. It is actually, I'm back in Florida now, for many of you that saw that I ran my race in New York. Unfortunately, it was also super hot. It did not get luckily, did not get a cool, or unfortunately, did not get a cool day for my marathon, but that's okay. Those things happen. But good thing is that I have been training in Florida hot and humid weather, which probably helped me, because I did know that I was very important to make sure that I hydrated definitely through the race. So I wanted to just give you guys a little recap. But yes, currently, actually, right now in Florida, it is raining, it is pouring, and it's pretty stormy out there. So glad I am not out there running today. So let's see if anybody is on. It doesn't. If you are on, say hi, say hello. I want to know you're here. I want to know you are watching me live. Let me know as well if you can hear me and see me and all that. Okay. Hi. We're also going live using StreamYard. So if you haven't joined one of my lives before, just click that link above me, and make sure to allow StreamYard to allow your name to show up, or in the comments, just let me know what your name is. As you can see, I'm showing the comments here, and unfortunately, I can't always see your names there, but definitely say hi if you are here. I can hear you perfectly. Awesome, thank you. Lisa, oh hi Lisa, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Awesome. So I see a couple, yay, a couple of you are on. And if you are watching this on replay, just comment below replay so I know you checked this video out later. This video will also be available for replay in the Facebook group, as well as on my YouTube channel. So I am streaming this live through YouTube, so it'll also be there. And I will also have a podcast episode as well. So we have 3 places for you to listen to this, watch this, if you do miss it live. So no worries. But hopefully a couple people, I'm glad to have a couple people on. I did know that I scheduled this late, actually. I did just get back from my trip yesterday. So it's been kind of crazy just getting back into the things this week, and also making sure that I still food prep and all of that stuff myself and take care of myself as well. So with all that said, where do I start? So marathon recap. So let's start from, I guess, the beginning. And if you guys have any questions, you're welcome to ask, and I'm welcome to talk more about part of the journey, or the I guess the process, if there's something that you are more interested in, because I know people have been asking me, especially about the recovery. So I do want to focus on that, since I'll also be focusing on that this week, talking about recovery. So I'll also kind of focus probably more on that. But for a recap, so it was very hot. Very hot. Start was 75, not as humid as usual, training in Florida. So that was good. The humidity was low. There was a little bit of breeze, so that was good. It started right at 6 sharp, which was a little early, so I did have to figure out my fueling plan. We did stay in a hotel about 10 miles away, so when I got up, I really just got up, I got ready, and I think within a half hour, which is probably around 4:30, I made sure to eat my overnight oats. So I had those already prepared, ready to go. I had it in the fridge, in the hotel fridge, and I was able to eat that real quick. It actually worked really well too, the overnight oats, because it felt like it was something that I could get down that early in the morning. But I do think that it really does help to practice that fueling plan even on those long training runs. So I might not necessarily get up that early to eat. I do like to be up a little bit earlier and give myself more time before I run, but I wasn't really going to get up before 4 o'clock. So that was pretty early for me to get up at 4 a.m. And then my parents were with me. So they also had to get up that early as well to get me there. But that worked really well. I think oatmeal works really well for pre nutrition. I did have bagels with me, so that was I did bring Dave's Killer bagels, so I could have brought those with me. Got to the race. Let's see. Oh, on the way, I made sure to drink my electrolytes. So I had about 16 ounces of a bottle. So I had a water bottle, and I put my Noon tab in it. I did realize that the Noon tablet doesn't actually fit in it, so I did have to break it up. I actually had my dad do that. So I had him break that up, but I did have everything laid out the night before, which I think worked really well. Something that probably didn't work so well was keeping the gels. So, or where to like hold on and carry the gels, at least during. So we'll get to that. Um, so pre race. Let's focus on pre race. So pre race, we got to the race. Um, it was pretty warm already, so I didn't really wear any extra clothes, so that was good. Made sure to do like a 5-minute jog. There was kind of this little garden area, kind of where the start was, so I kind of just jogged in a little circle for 5 minutes or so. Um, about 30-45 minutes before the race, stretched, did all that, focused on more ballistic stretching, those kind of things, trying to get my hip a little bit warmed up. And the hip didn't cause me too many issues during the run. A little bit, I definitely certainly felt it. And this week, like I said, I'm going to talk more about the recovery. But for me, I'm really hoping that these next 2 weeks of not running will really help to heal my hip. But I didn't feel really any difference than my training runs, and felt like I didn't have had to stop for my hip. It didn't feel that painful, but it was still there. But I did notice once I warmed up, I didn't really feel that it was really bothering me as much once I warmed up. But I do know it took me a while, probably at least 6 miles, to kind of get my body warmed up. But that's really all I did for warm up. And then I did take 2 salt pills. Yeah, I took 2 salt pills as I entered the trail. So as I went to the start line about 5 minutes before, I made sure to take 2 salt pills. So I had those on me. I kept them in a little plastic baggie, and took them out. And that's probably something also that something I still want to work on, is figuring out how to get those salt pills out easier as well. I don't swallow them, so I think that's another thing, and I try to take them out of the capsule because the capsule is not vegan. So I don't take the capsule. I also hate swallowing pills. I'm just not a pill swallower. So I try to take the salt out of it. And that was kind of hard, especially if my mouth was dry. So I did try to at least sip on some water at every water stop. And then I think about halfway, past 13 miles, I started to switch to the Gatorade and started taking the sips of the Gatorade. Even though I don't drink much Gatorade, I knew I was taking the salt pills, which do have salt and electrolytes, which is great. But I still know I needed something a little bit more because it was heating up. It was getting warmer. I could tell. So I wanted to make sure to take some electrolytes. So I did try the Gatorade. Did not really go with my stomach very well. I kind of felt not so good after the Gatorade. I think at one point it was getting pretty hot. It was probably, I could have been at 20 miles, and I kind of stopped a little bit through the station, the water stop, and they were giving out bottles of water, a little tiny bottles of water, as well as little Gatorade bottles. I was just sipping and throwing away the bottle. But what I ended up doing, I think at one point, is I actually drank the whole bottle because I was like, I really need this. My mouth is really dry, so I made sure to drink that and just kept going. But as I said, one thing, and then with the fueling, every hour I took a salt pill, and every 45 minutes, yeah, I took a gel. I did end up actually dropping my gels on the on the run, on during the race, and someone actually behind me stopped, help pick them up for me, and I felt so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, of course in this race, but of course nothing really works perfectly. So we can set ourselves up for success and we can have a really good plan, which I really like that my coach does that with me. He, writes out my fueling plan, hydration plan, as well as the paces and every mile or, every 5K or so, which really, really is helpful as well. So it's great to have a plan going in and setting yourself up for success. But of course, these little hiccups and things happen in every marathon. You learn from something. So one thing is I put my gels around my waistband, and what happened is once I grabbed that one gel out, they all fell out. So what I ended up doing really quick, because I was like, oh shoot, I don't have time to monkey with this, is I stuck them in and many of you other female runners, you may be able to relate to this. I ended up sticking them down my sports bra, that, or kind of like a sports bra tank, I guess, bra I was wearing. So I stuck them down there, and I actually have a uh, I don't even know if you want to call it a scrape. It's the weirdest thing. I've chafed before, and I do make sure in all the areas that I chafe, I use my run goo, which helps a lot for the chafing. So I didn't have any chafing, but I did just have a little bit of, like, almost like a scar on my breast, and I think that has to do with the goo, because I could feel it rubbing against it, which didn't feel that great during the race. So that was probably the biggest challenge. And then also getting those salt pills out of the plastic baggie, because I didn't want them to dissolve, because right in heat capsules can dissolve. So I didn't want that to happen. So put them in a plastic baggie, but then it was kind of difficult getting those out. Okay. So I just want to answer some of these questions. So what was training like? So training, I have been, honestly, feels like I've been training for the past 2 years. So not a usual like 18-week training plan. I've really just, think about probably about 2018, I've ran, this was my fourth marathon. I ran 3 marathons. I decided that I really wanted to run Boston, and I wanted to improve my marathon time. So, and then I think I got injured. I think I was supposed to run a marathon. I don't think we were ready 2018. 2019, I had an overuse injury in my foot, kind of some kind of tendonitis. And then 2020 COVID happened. So really have just been training through really 2019, 2020. And then I finally was able to get in a race again this June. It was supposed to be end of May. So yes, but it's training has been good. It's just been very exhausting, tiring, and very hot since I'm in Florida now. But I do enjoy running more in warmer weather, I do think, rather than the cold. Upstate New York, I've done training all through winter, to run a spring marathon, and it's just not my favorite. Not my favorite to really run in the train in the winter time. What does electrolytes do for running? Great question. So, electrolytes are sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So, sodium, we lose sodium through our sweat. So, especially when it's hot, our body compensates by trying to cool our body temperature down by sweating. So we release a lot of salt. So if you ever tasted your skin after a run, maybe just like licked your lips or tasted your skin, right, you can taste that salt. So sodium is literally comes out in your sweat. So because you don't want to get dehydrated during your run, which can lead to would lead to, problems, electrolyte imbalance and dehydration, which can really make you dizzy, faint, pass out, those kind of things we don't want to happen. So you do want to replace sodium, and other electrolytes that are in salt tabs, as well as electrolytes like Noon tablets, are magnesium, potassium, and those are important to help that electrolyte balance, but also prevent cramping. So cramping is something that's very common that runners experience, and most often it's because of their electrolyte imbalance. And so that is important. So yeah, so electrolytes are important to making sure to drink them before and also during long runs, and even during your race as well. And then someone said, I grab a Gatorade and water and combine, so not so strong. That is a really good idea. I actually wish I did that during the run. I think I just didn't want to probably monkey with it because they were giving bottles. A couple of people gave, like the volunteers that are handing them out, didn't even take the caps off. But then I saw people were starting to do that. So then I was noticing, I was like, oh, thank you. Like you took the cap off for me. So that was something that was, I think, a little bit new to me because of the past marathons that I've ran. Usually they give out cups of water and you just kind of can splash it right on your head, or just kind of, sip it a little bit and then toss it. But these were actually bottles, so that was really kind of different to me. Nothing I really experienced before. I felt really bad just throwing it out, but I was also like, I don't want to carry this. I can't drink all this. So that was definitely interesting. But yeah, that's a really good idea to do, is to mix it, because unfortunately, if you don't want to carry your own electrolyte drinks with you, then it's kind of, especially in the marathon distance, you might not want to carry it with you. But unfortunately, a lot of times, yeah, all they have is Gatorade, which I know isn't the best. At least I wish they had G2, which is more of a low calorie, low sugar kind of Gatorade, which would be a lot better. But that's okay. We get what we get, and we make do with what we can do. Um, so yeah, I think really everything went well. I thought my fueling hydration went really well. Um, I did take off probably a little bit too fast, but I felt really good the first half, and then I last kind of 13 started to kind of lose my energy. But it was more of the fitness was there. I think it was just my legs that just didn't want to go. But in my training, even though I've been training for the last couple, feels like the last 2 years. Um, Even though I had some time off for injury, and of course rest and recovery I've had as well, is I felt like, you know, that I felt like the fitness was there, but the speed was there, but the legs weren't quite there. And I think that had a lot to do with not running over a 20 miler. So and usual and also tapering sooner. So I know that's something that I wasn't able to do. And that was just because of my having just a hip flare up at kind of, um, probably 4 weeks out of the marathon. So I just felt really grateful to be able to be in a live race, especially just not running a marathon for so long, and just being able to finish it, I think was really, really, really cool. Um, so what else? Yeah, and then afterwards, I definitely felt that fatigue and soreness in my legs. Kind of forgot about how sore you feel. But I felt, really strong when I finished, and that was always a goal that I remember having, after finishing my first marathon, really just wanting to be able to finish strong. So that was really great. And then, yeah, my parents were there, so they met me at the end. I did take my protein powder in a shaker bottle, so I added water. I shook that up. I tried to get that down. It was really hot, so I did finish, and I was not feeling like eating. They gave us a bunch of snacks. None of them were vegan or plant-based or anything. There was pretzels in there, so I could have had those pretzels if I wanted to get something in. But I decided to just take my protein shake, and then I also brought a Lenny and Larry's cookie. So I had half of that, kind of bites of that at least. Um, and then on the way home, we stopped to get something to eat. So I got to have a Indian bowl. So that was actually perfect. Had some rice, protein, all that stuff in there. So that went really well. Parents did great pictures. They really did. Yeah, they definitely did, which was very, very thankful. As my coach mentioned as well, that it takes a village, and it's really great to have this support. And part of, I think, creating this group as well for you that are new to this group is wanting to create more of a support system, because I have been grateful to have that support system with my family. But I know that, it's tough, especially even though they do support me. Maybe my mom's ran a marathon, so my dad's been to many races, so that's a good thing. But some people, may not either have that family support at all, or maybe you have family that doesn't really understand how much it takes, the training and all of that stuff that goes into it. So it is nice to have a community like this to be able to share, just share your journey and share suggestions and ideas and all those things that have worked for you. Because it is a journey, and we're all just learning together. And I think more support that we can have is going to be really helpful for us. So, and Meg said it was really hot in Buffalo this weekend. The race is usually in May. Yes. So yeah, the race is usually in May. I know May in upstate New York, it could be cold, it could be hot. You really never know. And unfortunately, yeah, this end of June was just a very hot day. So that always is to something to consider too, especially when you're, trying to PR. Luckily, I think I had a really good plan going into it, knowing, I wasn't going to qualify for Boston because of, the unexpected things that had happened right before the race. But I think another thing is to consider the weather. It was so hot. It's really dangerous to really run hard in those conditions. So I do feel good that I didn't run too hard and took my time as well. And still ended up with the PR, which is really cool. Um, yeah, so that's really it. That's really the recap that I wanted to share with you all. And I thought it went really well. And was super pumped at really just honestly feeling, as I said, feeling strong. So I think it's always good to, whenever you run a race, especially when you have big goals, is to assess it, think of, learn from the mistakes. Don't get too hard on yourself. Have grace with yourself, especially if you're running in heat and humidity, if things didn't go the right way. And always just think about what are things that I could change, what are things I could do better. And as I said, use this group as support. If there's something that didn't go so well in your race, ask somebody in this group, post in the group. I'm sure they'll give you some suggestions that might work better for you. So, um, yeah, that's really it for the recap. As for tips for recovery, I think the biggest thing for recovery is rest. That's the most important thing. Is you really just need rest. It depends on how much rest you need. For plant-based runners, it is um, one of the benefits of being plant-based is a faster recovery. So that's really cool. But I know for me, I'm probably going to take more time, and I am going to take those 2 weeks. Because for one, that's what my coach tells me, but I also agree because I have had this hip kind of issue been kind of lingering. It's still not completely healed. I'm not 100% healthy. So even though I will be training, going right into training for a fall marathon, and hoping to qualify for Boston at that race, um, I still think it's important to take that time to really recover and go into this next training 100% healthy and also have a mental break. I think mental breaks are really important, especially with racing and training, especially if you're training for a long time. So I am actually excited, even though have gotten into such a consistent pattern and routine for running. It's weird for me not to run for 2 weeks, but I think it is a good thing for me to do, and I am excited to have this rest. I do think. I do think it's much needed, so I am excited for that. And I think that's what's so important and what can really hurt people. I'm just reading the book Bravey, which is written by Alexi Papa. She's an Olympic runner, and she actually talks about in her group or in her book, she talks about how she pretty much well she really so she ran the Olympics. She was at the Olympics and ran the Olympics, and she ended up just going back home and just going right back to training, even though she was kind of having this lingering, possibly it wasn't an injury yet, but just kind of something that wasn't going so well. It ended up being injured and then, not being able to run or even running through it. And then that led to even more issues and not being able to train at all. So it is so common with athletes. And I think for a lot of us as well, especially those of you that may be in this group, you might be thinking, well, I'm not an athlete, I'm not an Olympic runner. But if you are, if you do get up to, if you're running consistently 20, 30 miles a week, you should consider yourself as a runner, as an athlete, and, really making sure to take care of your body in this way, because you don't want to overtrain, and that can lead to injury and lead to you, being out of running for months. I even have a friend, she's also a runner as well as a run coach, and she's been out of running for quite a few months from injuries, from bone injuries and stress fractures. So it's not fun to be out of running, but I do think and that's why it's so important to take that rest, and understand that the recovery is part of the phase. It's part of the process, um, and it's okay. And you actually need that physical and mental break, and it's important to do that. Other things that are really helpful with recovery are massages are really great. I do have a massage gun, so that's been really helpful. um, what else? Ice baths have been also known to really help that recovery process as well if your legs are just feeling really shot. Sometimes even just going for a walk or doing a little jog can kind of help loosen up your tight muscles as well. Um, and then what else? Also for nutrition, I would say just keep eating, well balanced plant based meals. Of course, you might not need as much, extra starchy carbohydrates and those kind of things. And of course, protein is important, but really just making sure you're getting enough protein. You don't really necessarily need any extra, but just making sure you're getting that protein and making sure you're still eating balanced meals. That recovery phase isn't that time to suddenly you know cut cut calories and that sort of thing, because your body is recovering and you do want to make sure you're eating well, in order to help your body recover, and just take it day by day. um, yeah, we all, like I said, our bodies are all different. But I'm excited to see how, hoping in a couple days my legs will be back to normal, which is really exciting because I think it has taken me days or even weeks for my um, legs to kind of recuperate from a marathon. But um, it still really feels really good. So yeah, so those would be my recovery tips. Someone said Bravery Book Club on your page. I still need to read it. Keep meaning to. Yes, we could do a Bravey book club. I think somebody else also mentioned doing a book club with the plant-based. I don't know if I had it. I think I just have it on my Kindle right now, but I did buy the book, The Plant-Based Athlete. So yes, Bravey should be another one in our book club, and I'll write that down. The Plant-Based Athlete. Uh, and so I have new moderators helping me. So maybe I can get someone to help me set up a book club. So that was a great idea. Yes. It's good. Yeah, it's really good. She does talk a lot about her personal journey, but I think it's really cool to see someone's personal journey and their inner struggles and what they're going through as somebody that we might only see as an Olympic athlete. And, how did they get there? And really cool, I think, to me to see they have the same struggles that we have. They're just able to overcome them, or they're just able to, really create that environment that they need in order to really get to their goal. So they really just commit to it and they just give 100% into that goal. And that I think is the most important thing. Oh, yes, Rich Roll's book. That's a great one too. I don't know if I've ever actually read that one. Okay. I just want to write these down. Awesome. You guys are so awesome. All right. Great ideas. Awesome. 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 Okay. Any other questions about, running marathons, tips for recovery, any of those kind of questions for tonight? Okay, cool. I see a couple people have joined us, so that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here live. And then what's going on this week? So not too much, not a lot is going on this week. We'll be mostly focusing on recovery. I am going to have new moderators that are going to start being more, I believe, more active in the group and kind of posting more starting July 1st. So you'll see that change this week. Um, I'll also be introducing the moderators so you get to know them a little bit more as well, since I know a lot of you been in this group, you know me pretty well. So I want to make sure you guys get to know them as well. So that'll be going on. I think that's really it. I don't think there's really anything else special going on this week. But as always, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm available. I'm here. My time, of course, is available. I'm still very busy and all that, but I'm here to help you guys. So if you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out. We can also, if you are struggling or have questions that are individual to you, we're always welcome as well to set up a 15-minute quick little call with you. I'm welcome to do that as well. So whatever you guys need. Thank you. It was fun. I was glad to have a good race and to feel strong running the race. So that is always a good thing. And really just all I want for you guys too. I want you guys to have that same feeling of running a marathon and feeling so strong and that you gave your best. So that is all I have for today. Is there anything else? Am I forgetting anything else? Oh yes. So I am trying to gauge interest in possibly doing a 3-month, would be a 90-day run on plants program. So basically you would have we would have we'd have weekly group calls, nutrition support, and it would really be just setting yourself up for success for a fall marathon. So if you are somebody that's running a fall marathon, I'd love to talk to you to see if this would be a good fit for you, or let me know even if that's something you're interested in. I've had people kind of come to me and kind of mention or kind of talk about that. What it sounds like is what they need is something like this. So I am trying to create something that would be helpful for you. So if that's something that that if you're running a fall marathon and you want to make sure that you are fueling correctly, during that training, the next couple months we have, or making sure you are also set up for race day, this would be a great program for you. So if you're interested, let me know if you guys are interested, because I am trying to see if there's enough interest in running the group or not. But I think that's what it sounds like, what I'm hearing, that would be really helpful. So I'm just trying to gauge and see what would be helpful and what would work. So, if anyone has any ideas of, really what you need help with specifically, to get you set up for that fall marathon, definitely let me know as well. But I am trying to create something that would be helpful for those that just want to make sure they feel confident training the next couple of months and going strong into that race, as well as making sure you're fueling for that race. So I wanted to also mention that. All right, awesome. Well, thank you for everybody that joined live. Hopefully, some of you will also watch this on replay. And I will see you guys all next week. Bye.